What's going on now is the single greatest scam in the history of American politics. The Democrats want to take away your guns. They want to take away your health care. They want to take away your vote. They want to take away your freedom. They want to take away your judges. They want to take away everything. We can never let this happen. We're fighting to drain the swamp, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And you see why we have to do it. Because our country is at stake like never before. It's all very simple. They're trying to stop me.
This is Automated Thought.
You know, I just can't do it. I always told myself, as soon as Trump's presidency is over, as soon as he's done for, I'm going to make this one gigantic video that addresses everything about the madness of the last 4 years. I took so many notes, and there was so much to talk about. I was saving it all up for this one gigantic blast of rage and disgust. I was going to talk about all the misperceptions that people had about Trump in 2016 and the fundamental stupidity of making a creature like this president. How especially the neckbeards on YouTube, they turned him into something he clearly was not. I was going to talk about the bizarre, pathetic nature of his cult following and how his fans hallucinate that he's strong, either physically or mentally, instead of the fat, lazy, screeching Karen that he is. I was going to talk about Sam Harris and the psychological failings that one must have to actually admire this piece of wreckage. I was going to talk about how Joe Biden won unequivocally, how he won, why he won. I was going to talk about the wrongness of the Trumpers trapped in their little bubbles where they somehow believed that despite all evidence, Trump was somehow beloved by most people. He wasn't. I was going to talk about all the people I know who don't normally vote, but they were much more motivated than ever to do so. How they were willing to stand in line and vote for Joe Biden just to get this freakish asshole out of the White House. How did the Trumpers not see this coming? For years at my job, I heard people say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, the thing I like about Trump is that he pisses everyone off. He gets everyone angry and riled up. Liberals, blacks, women, immigrants, he just pisses everyone off. Yeah.
Don't you think that pissing everybody off in the country is a good way to lose an election? I was going to talk about how funny it was that for 4 years, the Trumpers jeered that Hillary Clinton and her supporters fell victim to some kind of hubris, thinking that she couldn't possibly lose, only to be proven wrong. And then the exact same thing happened to them. They thought that Trump was assured a second term despite being historically unpopular and doing an objectively incompetent job. I was going to talk about the coronavirus and his utter failure to meet that challenge. How if you look at the exit polling, Trump actually could have won a second term if he'd just said, wear a mask, now I'm going to step aside, listen to Dr. Fauci, he's the expert. If he'd done that, he could have won, which is kind of scary. I was going to talk about the damage that he's done to democracy itself, and how much he's eroded our standing in the world. How the quote-unquote patriots of America, they're always very concerned with how strong we look to other countries, and how Trump made us look stupid, short-sighted, and weak. One gigantic blunder can be forgiven, but 2 gigantic blunders? That's a pattern. I was going to talk about the absolutely bizarre and tragic descent of the Republican Party, how they've gone from Reaganites to loyal Bushies to teabaggers to Trumpers, and now they've devolved into the psychotic madness of QAnon, Pizzagate, the storm. I was going to talk about Facebook and misinformation and how reality has shifted to the degree that I now live in a world where the majority of the people I meet in this red state, like 70%, they seem to believe crazy things that are simply untrue and how disturbing that is to me. I was going to talk about how insane this is going to look in the history books, how utterly idiotic we're going to look to posterity. I was going to talk about this. I was going to talk about why, for the love of all that is holy, why didn't someone tell this moron that L'Oreal bronzer, it's used by people who go to the beach, and it's supposed to go over your whole body when you're at the beach, and it was never supposed to go on just your face, while your ears and hands remained as white as ever? Why? See, I was going to go into great detail on all of those issues. I was going to make a video that could have been 2 hours long, but I'm not going to. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I just summed it all up in 5 minutes, and for me, just summing it up, I think you get the picture. I want to put this all behind me. The only thing that matters from this point on is how much more this traitorous gastropod can damage the country and damage the minds of his followers. Fortunately, almost anything that he's likely to do from this point on will only hurt the GOP, not help it. And in my opinion, anything that hurts the Republican Party is good for the rest of us. Vote Democrat always. But I feel like I have to make a video. You see, I had a bet with this guy, Zucca Zerfantes. We made a bet 4 years ago. He bet me that the economy would be measurably better for working class people at the end of Trump's first term. His first term because he was going to be easily reelected. Sadly, I won the bet. I almost wish that I didn't. The economy is not better for working class people. But I haven't heard from Zucca, so it looks like he's going to welch on me. I never took you for a welcher, Zucca, but here we are. It's going to take me a while to make this video, so let's see if he comes through. But right now, I'm sensing a welch.
You never welch on a bet, Dean.
And you know, that sucks, because if I lost, I would have honored the bet. I would have had to draw 3 free requests for him. A decent prize, because I'm an artist of some passable skill. If he lost, which he did, all I wanted was for him to publicly admit that he was wrong about Trump. And he was wrong. He and every other vaguely alt-right-ish, video game-loving, anti-feminist dude bro, they were absolutely dead wrong about Trump, about what he would do as president and how he would govern the country, how he had some special knowledge that would create economic miracles. It was all a huge con job, and everyone knows it by now. Zucca, you were wrong. You lost the bet. I won. Pay up. I'm sure Zucca might come up with some kind of excuse about how he wasn't actually wrong.
The pandemic, you can't blame him for that. That's just bad luck.
Doesn't matter. A bet is a bet. And Zucca, if you don't think that you're capable of being completely wrong about things, just think back to how completely wrong you were about the future of Star Wars just a few months ago. See, that's why I'm not making a long video about Trump. I would much rather talk about Star Wars. Star Wars is cool and interesting. Donald Trump is not. And Zucca, you were wrong about Star Wars. Remember all that crazy jive you were talking about Kathleen Kennedy being fired from Lucasfilm? About all the Star Wars shows grinding to a halt? And that the next 3 movies they made were going to be a reboot of the sequels? None of that is true. They're going full steam ahead, and the next 3 movies are going to be standalones from different directors. The first one, of course, being Rogue Squadron from Patty Jenkins. The sequels are not being retconned, and Rey Skywalker is never being erased. I would have loved to have seen your reaction when this happened. What was this, like a month ago? You must have seen this and realized,
oh damn, I was wrong. I said that something was going to happen, and the exact opposite of it happened instead.
And I hope you've had the time to question, why were you wrong? You were wrong because you were absorbing bad information. Like so many right-wingers these days, you exist in this ecosystem of propaganda and lies, and you don't seem to have the mental acuity to realize it. You're a mark for the con artists. You listen to people like Doomcock, people who have an agenda. They get clicks from peddling misinformation to people like you, selling you the false hope that Disney is going to suffer for not catering to your whims. They feed you all these slanted facts and made-up numbers that paint a picture of the world that is just not accurate. They try to tell you that the sequel movies lost money when they actually made boatloads of it. They're not honest. They would never tell you that, sure, Disney took a hit in the theme park business because of the pandemic, but that's not going to ultimately decide the fate of Lucasfilm. With people staying indoors, they want more movies and shows, not fewer. This last year, The Mandalorian and The Clone Wars became streaming juggernauts. Disney Plus reached its 4-year goal in just 1 year. That's amazing. Star Wars is hugely profitable, and it will probably continue to be so. I mean, hell, even if all of Disney's theme parks closed forever, Lucasfilm and Walt Disney's other television and theatrical divisions, they'd just be spun off into their own entities. That's how business works. The people like Doomcock, they probably also won't bother to mention that when the economy is bad, these giant corporations like Disney can borrow a lot of money at very low interest rates. They can restructure everything. He won't tell you that because it doesn't advance his little narrative that Disney is going to somehow go bankrupt because The Rise of Skywalker made only $1 billion. Rise of Skywalker, great movie by the way. I've watched it at least 12 times, probably more. You should check it out someday. So, Zucca, I just want you to look at how all the bad information you got from angry edgelords, it made you wrong about Star Wars. And the same thing is true of Trump. You got bad information, you made bad decisions. Garbage in, garbage out. That's the real tragedy here. People like Zucca may be wrong, but they're not crazy and they're not evil. They're just reacting to the insane right-wing media ecosystem that they've been marinating in for the last few decades. The only way that they could accept someone as obviously vile as Trump is because they've been emotionally primed to do so by years of propaganda. Propaganda where Donald Trump is portrayed as some kind of hero battling a vast globalist satanic pedophile conspiracy led by George Soros. I know, it's insane. See, here's the thing. Before Donald Trump, if you had gone to Zucca Zerfantes and just posed him as a hypothetical, consider this person, Candidate X. Let's look at some of the things that he has done. He cheated on his wife with a sleazy porn star, paying her for sex because his wife had just given birth and didn't feel like having sex with him at the time. He then paid the porn star hush money to keep quiet about it and repeatedly lied to his followers saying he didn't do it until he finally had to come out and say, yeah, I did it, so what? He learned beyond the shadow of a doubt that the coronavirus was indeed very, very deadly. He was caught on tape with a world-famous reporter saying that it was the plague, that it rips people apart, and that it's way worse than the flu. And then he went out and lied consistently to the entire country, saying that it was harmless because he thought it would help his re-election. But ultimately, he did lose the election by 7 million votes. His own people gave him a 27-page report that detailed exactly how and why he lost. But despite knowing full well that he lost, he tried to steal the election through any kind of means, legal or extra-legal. He went out again and lied, blaming some sort of vast shadowy conspiracy for his own failing. The lies became so grandiose that eventually a bunch of his followers attacked the heart of our democracy, killed 6 people. They beat a cop to death with an American flag. They used violence and thuggery to try to overthrow everything that America has ever stood for. All our democracy, all of our Western values, they just shit right in its face. While their leader just sat back and laughed, his only thought that it could possibly benefit him in some way. You see, if you presented that hypothetical situation to Zucca Zerfantes, he would have said, my God, this person is completely evil. We cannot stand by while this vile rogue destroys. You know, he's one of those people. He's one of those milady types. Always going on about the greatness of Western culture, always posing as a defender of reason and civilization, while supporting a man who is the exact polar opposite of all of it. Supporting a man who is just another thuggish tribal chieftain. It's been astonishing to see the sort of mental gymnastics and justifications that people like Zucca have used to justify their adoration of Donald Trump. Oh, he cheated on his wife? Well, you know, she doesn't care anyway. That's probably true. He lied about the coronavirus? Well, he was just trying to be a cheerleader. And as for Trump trying to steal the election and overthrow democracy, as long as there's people telling him that Joe Biden somehow stole the election with a shadowy conspiracy, they will never, ever have to admit to themselves how evil that actually is. If you believe the conspiracy theory about Joe Biden stealing the election, you'll never have to face reality. You'll never have to live in the reality where Donald Trump lost because he was just a shitty president, a terrible human being, and he made a lot of really bad campaign decisions. You know, it's really sad. I used to like to debate with right-wingers, but it's hard to do it anymore. They simply deny that basic facts exist. I remember having all these debates with Zucca about the Iraq War, but imagine trying to debate the Iraq War with somebody who claimed that the war never happened, Saddam Hussein was never a real person, and George W. Bush was just a crisis actor. How do you debate those people? I'm finding increasingly that I can't. From the very first day when Donald Trump began blatantly lying about the size of his inauguration crowd, he successfully created this alternative reality of alternative facts. And sadly, people like Zucca, they choose to live there because it just feels better to them. Reality has become uncomfortable, so they've created a fantasy for themselves. But like all fantasy worlds, it is rapidly crumbling. It can't last. And believe me, I get the appeal. Sometimes I wish I could live in a fake reality. A reality where some benevolent God looks down on us, and he says,
I need to help America. Everything is rigged against the common man.
And then this God anoints a champion to set things right. This older gentleman, a businessman, brilliant, made his fortune from nothing, physically robust, ladies' man, more intelligent than everyone else around him, the smartest guy in the room. His only desire? To undo decades of corporate malfeasance, to make everything run better, to totally transform the system, to make the lives of average Americans just so much better. Yeah, what a hero, and his name is Duke Ironsides. Just look at him. And so he wins the election, miraculously. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. Wow. And at the end of his first term, everyone in America is much happier than they were 4 years ago. In fact, they're so happy that the sinister cabal of globalist, pedophile, satanic elites, they meet in their darkened chambers and they say,
Curse this Duke Ironsides. He's making things too good for the American people. This cannot continue. We must release a deadly virus from China that will make him unpopular. Yes, gentlemen, soon Duke Ironsides will be no more, and we can once again profit and feed on human misery. Now bring me a baby. I want to rape it.
Oh no, if only I could stop this.
And so everything is simple and clear. President Duke Ironsides is the hero of the world. Everything he does is right. All you have to do is support him blindly. Everyone else is part of the sinister deep state who's against him. That would be such a comforting and entertaining world. It's like a movie. Who wouldn't want to live in that? But that's just a movie. It doesn't exist. There is no Duke Ironsides. There's only Donald Trump, the malignant, mentally ill con man. It's really depressing, but hey, it's reality. The Trumpers are going to have to come back to reality sometime, but they're going to do a lot more damage before they do. As for everyone else listening to this, never make a bet with Zucca Zerfantes. He's a welcher, and if he loses the bet, he will not honor it. He lacks the honor to do that. You can make bets with me, of course, because I never welch on a bet. There was this other bet that I lost. I bet someone like a year ago that Kamala Harris was going to be the next president. And she probably will be someday. I mean, she's a heartbeat away, but I lost the bet, so I paid up. I produced what I promised, because that's what a man does. You never welch on a bet, son.
Dean lost a bet, and now he's my slave, and he's refusing a direct order to drink this.
You never welch on a bet, Dean. You be a man. Drink it.
If I ever welched on a bet, I'd just have to look down and say, man, where are my balls at? I thought they were there. But anyway, that's all I want to say about Trump. I'm sure he'll find a way to worm his way back into the news, hopefully when he dies. That's going to be awesome. But I just want to forget about him for now and get back to talking about Star Wars. Because damn, I love Star Wars.
Fucking Star Wars!
Okay, I was about to launch into a giant rant about Star Wars, but I need to save that for later. I need to start thinking about wrapping this up. But I guess let me just make 3 more quick points. Number 1, it is really cringy when all these dude bros who can't shut up about how much they love Luke Skywalker and how the character of Luke Skywalker is their ultimate hero. It's really freaking weird when they also love Trump. Look, dude bros, there's only one character in Star Wars who resembles Donald Trump, and it's not Luke Skywalker. It's this guy. George Lucas was always a liberal. Number 2, when Trump was first elected in 2016, people like Zucca Zerfantes kept crowing that this was going to put liberals in our place. Trump being president was going to show us that we weren't so smart after all. Smug liberals. So how did that work out? Don't get me wrong, those 4 years were pretty painful, but I don't think it put us in our place. Watching Trump consistently stumble and fail and now go down in history as a uniquely shitty president, lost the House, lost the Senate, lost the presidency, never came close to winning the popular vote, impeached 2 times, that's historically bad. Watching this orange asshole fall on his face, it makes me feel bad for America, but it doesn't make me feel bad about myself. If anything, my opinion of myself has only gone up in these last 4 years. My opinion of other people, sadly, has gone down. Whatever my smugness level is, it remains unchanged. You know what would have showed me and put me in my place? If Trump had been a successful president and been reelected. That sure would have showed me, but that's not what he showed me. Number 3. You know I hate to do it, but I gotta end on a somber note here. We were all celebrating in 2008 when Barack Obama became president. We thought that we had moved past certain things in our history and that we'd kind of turned a corner. We didn't know at the time that the worst was yet to come. And now, even though we have a brief respite, as always, the worst is still yet to come. If Trump does have one enduring accomplishment, it's completely transforming the Republican Party into something far worse than what it already was. All the evil and malignance that used to just kind of rumble under the surface, it has spilled out into the open. Before Trump, every other Republican candidate for president, they tried to act presidential. They tried to be decent. Whatever they were like in their personal lives, they all aspired to be that presidential ideal. That Americans wanted a leader that was honorable, intelligent, cared about all Americans, polite, stoic, reasonable, willing to compromise. Trump has revealed to the Republican Party once and for all that their base actually hates honor, intelligence, and decency. That what the Republican base wants is conspiracy theories, racism, stupidity, and endless shrieking grievance. They want bellowing strongman insanity combined with this infantile screeching that they're the only people that matter and that they should get everything that they want just because they want it. It's embarrassing, it's cringy, and it's dangerous. The Republican Party going forward is going to be more dangerous than it's ever been. And we have to get ready for that. The fight is never over. The movie never ends. All of this will keep continuing until we're all dead. That's life, bro. Let's do it. But for the near future, let's get back to talking about Star Wars. Did I ever tell you my theory that Moff Gideon actually becomes Supreme Leader Snoke? You see, if you look back at what Dr. Pershing said in Chapter 12 of The Mandalorian, he mentions that in addition to the clones, that there's also a quote-unquote volunteer for the process using Grogu's blood. And see what I...
I had to remember I had the old baby, that's what I said. I had to remember I had the old baby, that's what I said. I had to remember I had the old baby, that's what I said.
Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Oh.
Yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Oh.
Yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Oh.
Yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Oh.
Yeah. Nope, nope, nope. Stop talking, go to jail.
Oh.